We are docked and hard docked to the International Space Station. That docking sequence complete. The crew may doff or take off their suits and start configuring the cabin of Dragon for opening up the hatch.
This is the moment when the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule carrying 4 astronauts docked to the International Space Station at 12:04 a.m. Eastern Time on Sunday.
This is Mission Control Houston following along through the procedures. Crew-10 working through the steps inside Dragon Endurance, a view from which you are seeing the outside of the spacecraft from a camera mounted on the exposed facility of the Japanese module. Inside, the crew are working through steps. They wore their SpaceX launch and entry suits through the duration of today's procedure, docking to the International Space Station as a safety precaution, closing those visors and having the suits as an extra layer of protection. Now that we are docked and hard docked to the International Space Station, that docking sequence complete, the crew may doff or take off their suits and start configuring the cabin of Dragon for opening up the hatch.
NASA wrote on X, quote-unquote, shortly after docking to the space station, Crew-10 was welcomed by an orbital sunrise. Welcome to space, Anne, Nicole, Takuya, and Kirill.
Traveling with a range rate of less than 0.082, which, as you mentioned earlier, it continues to get slower and slower as we make this final approach.
Pretty good. 5 meters.
Copy, 5 meters.
So the next call we should hear is chop, or that crew hands off period, followed moments later by docking.
That typically comes at about 2 meters away from the International Space Station. Right now, we're less than 4 meters away. Less than 3 meters away.
Pretty good. 2 meters. Please hands off.
Copy, hands off.
There is the chop call.
Standing by for initial contact of Dragon to the International Space Station.
Dragon contact and soft capture complete.
And there you heard Dragon has successfully docked to the International Space Station. We have contact and soft capture confirmed.
This comes 29 hours after launching at 7:03 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday after NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The SpaceX capsule delivered 4 astronauts to the International Space Station early on Sunday in a NASA crew swap mission that will allow a pair of stuck astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams, to return home after 9 months in the orbiting lab.
Crew-10 taking their first steps outside as they prepare for their journey to the International Space Station. From left to right, Kirill Peskov, Nicole Ayers, Anne McLean, and Takuya Onishi.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that they are all so proud of her today.
NASA and SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket lifted off at 7:03 p.m. Eastern Time from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, carrying the 4 astronauts on March 14th to the International Space Station. It opened the door to bringing home U.S. astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sunita Williams, who have been stuck in the orbital lab for 9 months.
Obviously, you don't need a large cockpit, so it's actually sized perfectly for us as far as for controlling the spacecraft. And of course, all this other area down here earlier where you saw the baggage and whatnot is where the other couple of crew members would be for the next time the Starliner flies. Star 1 mission, there'll be 2 crew members down here.
Awesome, and thank you so much for paying attention. Thank you for being with us, and Butch and I are, again, so honored to be part of this crew.
Wilmore and Williams, both of whom are veteran NASA astronauts and retired US Navy test pilots, were the first to fly Boeing's BAN faulty Starliner capsule to the ISS in June. But problems with Starliner's propulsion system during its flight to the ISS delayed what was expected to be an 8-day stay. NASA deemed it too risky for the astronauts to fly home on the Boeing craft. Otherwise a routine crew rotation flight, Friday's Crew-10 mission is a long-awaited first step to bring the astronaut duo back to Earth. Part of a plan set by NASA last year that more recently has been given great urgency by President Donald Trump.